alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank all of you for coming out and honoring this special session that we're doing today. All praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have beautiful weather, cold with beautiful weather, which I assume is going to change by the time we finish today. The idea that behind this program was really to give a select group of people that we're in a battle, we're in a struggle for the very soul of Islam. And when times like these happen, we need to turn to the tradition in a way, not the branches or the leaves of the tradition, but to the trunk of the tradition, the root of the tradition. And so you turn to scholars that have proven themselves, that have a very formidable footprint, so to say, in the tradition. They're rooted in the tradition, grounded in the tradition. And so that where they come from is where, as one of my good friends said, it's a sort of a ma and a pa kind of religion, you know. This is the old-fashioned religion. And I have to tell you something. When I heard Sheikh Tahir speak earlier this year in Toronto, I thought my grandfather was speaking to me. I thought my, ancestors were speaking to me from years of tradition, going back to the times of the Ottomans and the Umayyads and the Abbasids, all the way back to the Khulafa al-Rashidin, all the way to the Prophet ﷺ. I feel like the whole tradition was coming together. And I was moved. I had never heard of Sheikh Tahir before I met him in Toronto. In fact, I'd heard of him, but I've never really met him. And I was in Pakistan. Those of you know that I go to Pakistan fairly often. And it's not really, there's some people like Brother Fawzan would ask me, why are you going to Pakistan so often? Well, I go to Pakistan pretty often. And I was there a couple of years ago at a time when there was a lot of turmoil in Pakistan like we have currently. It seems like that is a tradition, a thing that is happening all the time in Pakistan and that region, Afghanistan. So I was there in Pakistan, I was there in Peshawar, and I was working on a story. And part of the story led me to a senior judge in Peshawar. And I asked for a meeting with him because he had some information that I desired. And I wanted to convince him that I was a fairly good, innocuous Canadian, and he should give me that information. So he agreed to meet with me. And we met in the Pearl Continental Hotel. Those of you who've been to Peshawar know what the Pearl is. We were meeting in the lobby. And he's a very religious man and very senior, very elderly. And I asked him, for what he had that I wanted. And he wanted to test me. So he engaged in some discussion about Muslims in the West, in Canada, and all of these things. And I got very defensive after a while. I felt I was getting a dars from someone. And I really wanted to get on with my tea and dinner and wanted to get my information and move on. So I said to him that, we have scholars in the West. And really, we don't really need people from the East to tell us what to do. And he said, he was taken back by my tone. So he invited me to dinner at his house, him and his son, who's also a lawyer. So I went to their house, and it was a very nice dinner. And we engaged in discussion again. And at the end of it, I said to him, I said, tell me, if I, as a Westerner, wanted to read the work of a major, serious scholar in Pakistan, whom would you recommend? And Khurshid Ahmad. I said, well, he lives in England. Oh, wow. Well, how about this person and that person? And they were all people that, mashallah, they might have done good work or are doing good work. And, I reflected on that, and I wanted to know why didn't someone recommend, why didn't he or his son recommend someone like Sheikh Tahir, Ul Qadri? Why didn't they say, you want to read a real scholar, you want to read the work of a philosopher, of someone grounded in the tradition, of someone who knows the tafsir tradition, who knows the hadith tradition, who knows the history of Islam, who knows the laws, the fiqh, who knows aqidah, who knows hadith sciences? Why didn't they say, young man, you need to read a person who's written close to 1,000 or over 1,000 books in his time? in his short, and Allah grant him a long life. Why didn't they say that? So when I met him earlier this year, I was like, MashaAllah, this is the kind of scholar that I, as a Canadian, want to turn to when I look to the East, when I look to the Muslim world. I want to find scholars like these who can speak to me, who can speak to us, who can speak our language, who understands what we're dealing with. And speaking about what we're dealing with, we were just delayed coming in because Sheikh Tahir received a call from Pakistan. And those of you who know, there is almost a meltdown going on over there. A lot of stuff happening. Well, there's a security meltdown because there's accusations flying back and forth. So I want to warn you that there's a chance, and it's going to be hanging on a phone call, that Sheikh Tahir might have to fly to Pakistan later today. The Prime Minister has requested that he goes for a security meeting later this week. So if that happens, I'll definitely come.
Tuesday, 2 o'clock.
Tuesday, 2 o'clock.
Tuesday in Islamabad.
And they're 10 hours, I think, ahead of us. So he has to get a jump start on it. So if that happens, we will obviously inform you. But whatever little time we have with Sheikh Tahir, I'm just kind of like hoping that we get as much time. We're going to squeeze as much time as possible out of him. He's here really at our request, at all of your requests. So I ask you to turn your cell phones off. We want to engage in a lively discussion. I want to make this interactive at some point in time. Sheikh Tahir will let you know when he's open for questions. Put your hands up. You know, we're in the Canadian street. I don't want to. This is a room of people. I know all of you. You know all of. You know me. You know we know each other. You know, if you got a question and the time for question comes around, just feel free to ask it. We're not here to engage in debate. We don't debate. This is our tradition. We don't debate. We believe that Allah closes the doors of wisdom if you try to debate with scholars. So you engage in asking questions and facilitating a discussion. You got the program, you got the invite, you know what this is about. So the first thing we want to start off with is talking about the fada'il, you know, sort of the courage and wisdom and temperance and justice. These are the 4 cardinal principles of Islamic philosophy or conduct. And we want to start a discussion with that. How can we begin to sort of sort that out? Because that's what we need really in the West here.
Mercy.
And then mercy. And then inshallah, if Sheikh Tahir stays with us, we'll get into some issues after lunch that deals with Aqidah and Hadith issues. And that's where I think that, you know, we can find some of that information that we're looking for to ground ourselves. So when people tell us the kind of things that we're doing is bid'ah and innovation and all of these things that they throw at us, like, you know, like almost like grenades, spiritual grenades or religious grenades that they throw at us to break us apart, that we can have the kind of detailed analysis and sources that Sheikh Tahir can offer us, to use that to say, look, our tradition is grounded, what we do is grounded in the sources of Islam, in the primary sources, the Qur'an and the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Sheikh Tahir, and inshallah we'll get started. So please sit back, relax, dear. We're trying to get some hot water going here so you can have some tea and coffee, and we'll have yes, exactly. We wanted to do at the end of it, we wanted to,
beginning for the barakah, I think.
Yeah, Sheikh Tahir wants to do the ijazah.
Some more people you want?
Some people will come, yeah. After lunch.
Should we do afterwards?
I think we can do it maybe right when we come back. Is there anybody who's going to leave like halfway through this program, like after Dhuhr? People planning to leave? Because what we wanted to do is we wanted...
Hadith al-Rahmah al-Musalsal bil
Yeah, the Hadith al-Rahmah al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah, which is the hadith that a sheikh traditionally gives to his student at the very beginning. It's the Hadith of Rahmah. So Sheikh will explain to you.
Authority is right from Holy Prophet to me.
Now,
continue.
With an unbroken chain from the Prophet ﷺ to Sheikh Tahir. Yeah, so I'll leave it up to the Sheikh to explain where he wants to go with this, inshallah. So, without further ado, Sheikh Tahir.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Mujib as-Sa'ilin, Mujiz al-Amilin. This is a hadith which I am going to transmit to you with a continuous, unbroken, uninterrupted chain of authorities, chain of transmitters, right from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companion Sayyidina Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who relates this hadith from Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So right from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to this transmitter who is sitting in front of you, the whole chain of transmitters and whole chain of authorities who have related, transmitted and reported this hadith. This is unbroken, this is uninterrupted, and this is continuous. This hadith is known as e-Rehmah. My certificate of this hadith with the chain of authority was not here in Canada. Unfortunately, it was in Pakistan. I saw all of a sudden in the booklet or in the brochure or the program which was published by brother Shaykh Nazim Bakhsh, and he wrote it down that I will report and transmit and narrate this hadith of Rahmah al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah without asking me. He wrote it down. So I had to phone Pakistan, and I have they sent me through email, and then the original certificates have also arrived yesterday, just for this event. This is Hadithur Rahmah. Alhamdulillah, this was a very good decision of our brother Shaykh Nazim Bakhsh. He chose this hadith in consonance with this subject of our meeting and subject of our this seminar and sitting today. Because the major and the main subject of our discussion and discourse today is mercy of Almighty Allah and mercy of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all those aspects of the religion of Islam which emerge out of the concept of mercy. And the main feature and salient characteristic of this hadith is that this is al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah, hadith of mercy, which is al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah. Al-Musalsal means continuous. Awwaliyah means with the first position of narration. It means that right from the beginning up till today, up to my life, every shaykh, every imam, every transmitter and every authority and every narrator of this hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he narrated to his student, so this was the first hadith which was received by any student from any shaykh. This was the first hadith received by the student from his shaykh, from his transmitter. At every stage. And he, the shaykh, the imam, declared it verbally that this is the first hadith which I received from my shaykh. And when he gave the permission to his student to transmit this hadith of Rahmah to his students, so he also narrated this hadith as the first of ahadith to his students with the same words that I received. This is the first hadith which I received from my shaykh. And this continuity of this position of being the first hadith which was received by a student or which was transmitted by a shaykh to a student, this continuity of being the first makes it al-Musalsal bil-Awwaliyah. And alhamdulillah, with a continuous, complete, unbroken chain of authority from Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the transmitter who transmitted to me, again in my life, This was again the first hadith which I received with full continuous chain of authority up to Holy Prophet ﷺ, which I received in my life. This was again the first hadith, and I received this in the Haram of Makkah Muazzama. So that's why we chose to report this hadith and transmit this hadith to you, and I hope for most of you this would be the first hadith with full. Normally, you receive a hadith from Bukhari, from Muslim, from Abu Dawood, from Tirmizi, from Nasai, from Ibn Majah, from Tabarani, from Bayhaqi, and the chain ends to that compiler, to that authority. That's it. And then we read that the hadith directly through that book. And the system of preservation of the chain of narrators and chains of transmitters, that system ends and ceases with the compilation of that book. It doesn't continue, but there are very few hadiths which are still continuing according to the sunnah of the imams up till today, and it is being transmitted in the same way, in the same form of the chains of authority up till today. So this is one of them, and this is, alhamdulillah, a continuous hadith which has preserved its position of being the first of hadith ever transmitted to the student from the shaykh. That's why this is known as Hadith-ul-Rahmah. Rahmah is because of its subject, and al-musalsal bil-awwaliyya is its position and characteristic. Hadith-ul-Rahmah al-musalsal bil-awwaliyya. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Mujib as-Sa'ilin wa Mujiz al-Amilin, wa shukru lahu an ja'ala al-iblagha wal isnada min fada'il ad-din wa waffaqa li hamli amanati al-ilmi adul an-naqilin wa ahfaza riwayat al-ilmi an tahrif al-muharrifin. والصلاة والسلام على واسطة ميثاق النبيين سيدنا محمد النبي الأمين المكين الحنين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين خاصة من الأفاضل المسندين والعلماء المستفيدين المستمعين والطلاب المستجيزين. أما بعد فإن الإبلاغ والإسناد من خصائص هذه الأمة المحمدية. This transmission of the hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a continuous chain, with the chain of authority, this is a very significant and peculiar characteristic and one of the important and prominent virtues possessed by the ummah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this blessing of Almighty Allah was never showered on any ummah of any prophet before Holy Prophet's raising. No ummah protected the sayings, utterances, deeds, actions, narrations, transmissions, and sunnah and seerah of their prophet. They would never relate and transmit and report to other people and next generations with a continuous chain of authority. This continuity and protection of the chain of authority, this is one of the evidence of guaranteed protection of sunnah and hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the peculiar virtue of the ummah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that all hadith of Holy Prophet were reported and transmitted to the various generations. The companions transmitted to their followers, at-tabi'een. They transmitted to their followers, atba'ut tabi'een. They transmitted to their followers, the fourth generation. And in the same way, with this chain of authority, the a'immah and authorities of Islam, they used to transmit the hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ from one generation to other generation, which continued up to hundreds and hundreds of years, in a way that each and every transmitter, he was criticized, he was examined, and his authority was always under examination, and the whole life was studied, his authoritativeness, his trueness, his truthfulness, his level of memory, his level of trustworthiness, his level of integrity of his character, and then his piousness, his piety, and then his retentive memory, excellent memory, bad memory, poor memory. Was there any illusion in his memory? Was that person a committer of various errors or mistakes or not? When did he meet his shaykh? What was the date? What was the time? Which was the place? Whether he was alive at that time? And the history establishes the possibility of their meeting or not. So after examining all aspects of the life of the transmitters, and whatever aspect was directly relevant and significant, in order to accept a transmission or in order to reject it, everything, a full science was established for this purpose, which was known as ilmul jarh wa ta'dil and ilmu asma'ir rijal and ilmul rijal, ilmul riwat, ilmul jarh wa ta'dil. Along with all sciences, this transmission, the sunnah of transmission of hadith, was throughout in all generations, was totally preserved, protected and guaranteed. So this I have mentioned in this khutbah, that فَإِنَّ الْإِبْلَاغَ وَالْإِسْنَادَ مِنْ خَصَائِصِ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ الْمُحَمَّدِيَّةِ. And this aspect establishes the authority of hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the compilational aspect is concerned. فما من أمة من أمم الأنبياء السابقين كانت لها هذه المنزلة العلمية الرفيعة تبلغ دينها بالإسناد المتصل بين نبيها وبين علمائها. قد فضل الله تعالى به خير أمة وشرف أئمتها بآدابها من الصحابة إلى المحدثين. وقد روي عن ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول نضر الله إمران سمع منا حديثا أو في رواية سمع منا شيئا وفي رواية سمع مني مقالتي فبلغه كما سمعه فرب مبلغ أو من سامع. رواه الترمذي. وهكذا روى ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم ارحم خلفائي. Holy Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, O Allah, be merciful on my vicegerents, be merciful on my deputies and my khulafa and my representatives and my vicegerents. قلنا يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ومن خلفاؤك. The companions asked, Ya Rasulullah, who are your deputies and your vicegerents? Holy Prophet ﷺ said, قال الذين يروون أحاديثي ويعلمونها الناس. Those who would transmit my ahadith to next generations, to the people, with chains of authority. And they will teach the meanings and explain the meanings to them. So this is a communication along with explanation. Communication is known as ilmul riwaya. And explanation, its meaning, its wisdom, its implication, its significance, its application, this is known as ilmud diraya. So one is a science of tradition, other is a science of intellectual understanding, intellectual reasoning, and intellectual criticism or analysis of the subject. Rawahu Tabarani. Now I am reading the chain of transmitters and chain of authority of his hadith up to Holy Prophet ﷺ, so that I may transmit and you may receive the hadith from me. फ़इन्नल इख़वान अस्सालिहून अंतुम तलबु मिन्नी अल इजाज़ा फ़ी रिवायत हदीस रहमह अल मुसलसल बिल अव्वलिया फ़यक़ूलुल अब्दुल फ़क़ीर इला रब्बिल गनी मुहम्मद ताहिर अल क़ादरी बिन शेख अल इमाम अद-दक्तूर फ़रीदुद्दीन अल क़ादरी बिअन्ननी क़द अस्मअतुकुम व अजज़तुकुम कमा अस्मअनी व हद्दसनी व अजाज़नी बिही अश-शेख मुहम्मद बिन अलवी बिन अब्बास अल मालिकी बिमक्का अल मुकर्रमा बिल अव्वलियतिल हक़ीक़िय्या अन शरीफ अब्दुल कबीर बिन मुहम्मद अल माही बिन इब्राहीम अस्सक़ली अल हुसैनी बिल मस्जिद अन नबवी अश शरीफ अन सैयद अली बिन ज़ाहिर अल वतरी अल मदनी क़ाल हद्दसना अब्दुर्रहमान बिन मुहम्मद बिन अब्दुर्रहमान अल कुज़बरी अल हफ़ीद अद दिमश्क़ी व क़ाल हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना बदरुद्दीन मुहम्मद अश-शहीर बिइब्न बुदैर अल मक़दिसी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अबू नस्र मुस्तफ़ा अद-दिमयाती व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना मुहम्मद बिन अहमद बिन सईद अश-शहीर बिइब्न अक़ीला साहिबुल मुसलसलात अल फ़वाइदुल जलीला हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अबुल खैर बिन अम्मूस ar-रशीदी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना shaykh-ul-islam ज़ैनुद्दीन ज़करिया अल अंसारी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु व क़ाल हद्दसना अल हाफ़िज़ शिहाबुद्दीन अहमद बिन अली बिन हजर अल अस्क़लानी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अल इमाम ज़ैनुद्दीन अबुल फ़ज़ल अब्दुर्रहीम बिन अल हुसैन अल इराक़ी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु व अख़ज़ अल हाफ़िज़ ज़ैनुद्दीन अल इराक़ी अनिल इमाम अल हाफ़िज़ इब्न कसीर अयदन क़ाल हद्दसना अबुल फ़त्ह सदरुद्दीन मुहम्मद बिन इब्राहीम अल मैदूमी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अन-नजीब अबुल फ़रज अब्दुल लतीफ़ बिन अब्दुल मुनइम अल हर्रानी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अबुल फ़रज अब्दुर्रहमान बिन अली अल जौज़ी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अबू सअद इस्माईल बिन अबी सालेह अन-नैसाबुरी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसनी वालिदी अबू सालेह अहमद बिन अब्दुल मलिक अल मुअज़्ज़िन अन-नैसाबुरी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसनी अबू ताहिर मुहम्मद बिन महमिश अज़-ज़ियादी अश-शाफ़िई अन-नैसाबुरी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अबू हामिद अहमद बिन मुहम्मद बिन यहया बिन बिलाल अल-बज़्ज़ाज़ व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसना अब्दुर्रहमान बिन बिश्र बिन अल-हकम अल-अब्दी अन-नैसाबुरी व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु क़ाल हद्दसनी अल-इमाम अबू मुहम्मद सुफ़ियान बिन उयैना अल-हिलाली अल-कूफ़ी अल-मक्की व हुवा अव्वलु हदीसिन समिअतुहु मिन्हु अन अम्र बिन दीनार अबी मुहम्मद अम्र बिन दीनार अल-मक्की अन अबी क़ामूस मौला अब्दुल्लाह बिन अम्र बिन अल-आस अन अब्दुल्लाह बिन अम्र बिन अल-आस रज़ियल्लाहु ताला अन्हु क़ाल क़ाल रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु ताला अलैहि वसल्लम Ar-Rahimun Yarhamuhumur Rahman Tabaraka wa Ta'ala Irhamu man fil ard Yarhamukum man fis sama. Hakaza qala Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Ar-Rahimun, the mercifuls, those people who are kind to others, who are compassionate to others, who are merciful to others, who are generous to others, who are benevolent to others. These people are always blessed with special mercy of Almighty Allah. Almighty Allah is always merciful for them, and He is always benevolent to them, and He is always very kind to them, those who are very kind to His creation, who are very generous, very merciful, and very benevolent to other people, even to all creatures of Almighty Allah. And then Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he commanded to his ummah, Irhamu man fil ard. Those who live on this earth, those who live in this world, they should be merciful to others, to those people who are the creatures of this world. Yarhamukum man fis sama, so that the one who is in the heavens, Almighty Allah, He may become merciful on you. He will respond to your mercy with His mercy. هكذا سمعناه من جميع مشايخنا بزيادة لفظ تبارك وتعالى وهذا الحديث أخرجه البخاري في الأدب المفرد والإمام الحميدي, this is Shaykh of Imam Bukhari, في مسنده, والإمام أحمد بن حنبل, he is also Shaykh of Imam Bukhari, في مسنده, والإمام أبو داود في سننه, والإمام ترمذي في جامعه, والبيهقي في شعب الإيمان, وهذا الحديث حسن صحيح, والحاكم في مستدركه وصححه. And it is stated, سمعنا حديثا مسندا ومسلسلا. I end it with this couplets. سمعنا حديثا مسندا ومسلسلا بأول مسموع لنا قد تسلسلا وصح من سفيان دون تسلسل إلى خير مبعوث إلى الناس مرسلا يقول ارحموا خلق الإله لترحموا ومن يرحم أهل الأرض يرحمه ذو العلا. And in the end, I am giving after this transmission the ijazah that you have received from me with this continuous chain of authority from Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you have received this hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through me with the authority of the continuous chain of transmitters. And again, this is a manzoom, the ijazah which I am giving to you. But this is the text of my ijazah, my permission, which I wrote 2 nights before for you. Inni ajaztu lakum anni riwayatakum bima sami'tu min ashyakhi wa aqrani min ba'di an tahfazu shart al-jawaz laha mustajmi'ina biha asbab itqani arju bidhalika anna Allah yadhkuruni wa ana aqul arju bidhalika anna Allah yadhkuruna. All of them He will remember us. Yawman nushur wa iyyakum bi ghufrani. So this hadith al-musalsal bil awwaliyah has been also reported by Imam Ibn Qudama fi Sifat al-Uluw, wa Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani fi al-Imta' fi al-Arba'in al-Mutabayana bi shart al-Sama', wa Imam al-Suyuti fi Jiyad al-Musalsalat, wa al-Sakhawi fi al-Buldaniyat. فأجيزكم ala haza sama ijazatan tammatan wa ansahukum bi amanatil hamli wa hifazatil dabt wa adalatil naql wa usikum bit taqwa wa zuhdi wal wara' wa ta'atillah wa ta'ati rasulihi wa muhabbatillah wa muhabbati rasulihi wa tawqir rasulihi wa ta'zim rasulihi wa takrim rasulihi wa istiqam nisbat ma'an hadratin nabawiyya al-mustafawiyya sallallahu alaihi wa sallam ma'al ittiba' wa imtisal amrihi wa usikum wa nafsi bi taqwallahi ta'ala wa an la yansani min du'aihi wa fil khalawatikum wa jalawatikum wa sallallahu ta'ala ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi at-tayyibin wa sahbihi al-mahdiyyin walhamdulillahi fil awwalin wa akhirin wa rawi li hadhihi al-hadith allazi asma'akum huwa khadimu as-sunnah an-nabawiyya ash-sharifa wal ilmi wal hadith ad-Dr. Muhammad Tahir Ul Qadri. Barakallahu fi. I congratulate you on receiving this hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You always receive the hadith, but this is a hadith which you have received today with full continuous chain of authority, right from Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till 2 days. And this is an unbroken authority. This is known as ittisalus sanad. So you have now been connected with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through this hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by the means of the continuous chain of authorities. So now, alhamdulillah, I am going to change my whole scheme because my original plan was to start with the subject of mercy, which inshallah we will do sometime later. From Holy Qur'an, mercy of Almighty Allah for the whole world, for the whole of the universe, for all of the creations. And then the verses of Holy Qur'an related to the mercy of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his station, his merciful station and his merciful characteristic, and then aspects which emerge out of the concept of mercy. And Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mercy in connection of his ummah in this world, which I was going to narrate. Then mercy of Almighty Allah and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his companions. Then mercy of Almighty Allah and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his ummah. Then mercy of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the sinful people, those who commit crime, those who commit errors and mistakes, those who commit sins, and they are not pious, his mercy for them. Then Holy Prophet's mercy for the ignorant people and illiterate people, those who don't know about the good moral characters and good moral behaviors, even they don't know how to behave with Holy Prophet. Mercy for them. Then mercy for the women. Then mercy for the children. Then mercy of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for children. Then mercy for the orphans. Then mercy for the poor. The mercy for the needy. The mercy for the weak. The mercy for the slaves and the workers. Then mercy for the depressed people of the world. Then mercy for the sick and ill people. Then mercy for those who are died. Mercy for the dead. At the time of their death and after their death, even till the day of judgment, mercy for them in their graves, in barzah. And mercy for kuffar. Holy Prophet's mercy for kuffar, non-believers. And the mercy for the people of book. And the mercy for his enemies. Then Holy Prophet's mercy for those who are mu'ahad, who made an agreement and treaty of peace with Islam. Mercy for those non-Muslims who lived as non-Muslim citizens in Islamic State. Mercy for the whole creation. then mercy for the animals, mercy for the birds, and even mercy for each and every part of Allah's creation. This was the whole scheme of the subject of mercy, which I had prepared along with these books of Hadith. But now I want to utilize my time, and after that I wanted to explain the concept of mercy in Deen, and then the mercy of Allah and mercy of Holy Prophet in life hereafter, in various spiritual formats, spiritual manifestations, spiritual forms, and spiritual means and channels of mercy and forgiveness in the form of intermediation. This is one of the biggest form of mercy, the form of sending peace and salat and salam on Holy Prophet ﷺ and its rewards, and in the form of intercession, shafa'ah, up till the day of judgment. So these were various forms and manifestations of mercy of Almighty Allah and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then there are dozens of different kinds of this intercession through Holy Prophet, through the pious people, through the companions, through awliya, through salihin, through the saints, through the small innocent children who die, through Holy Qur'an, through the month of Ramadan, even through the animals, dogs and cats. If you fed them and if you give them water, remove their thirsty, even they would be intercessors on the day of judgment. So various manifestations of mercy. Then in diplomatic mercy, in diplomatic relations. Then mercy in Islamic constitution. When Holy Prophet ﷺ drafted the first constitution of Islamic State of Medina, which is known as Misaqul Medina. I have my own books on all these subjects. Misaqul Medina, which consists of 63 articles. So the various manifestations of mercy for generosity, this one, for forgiveness, for good moral behavior with the non-Muslims, with Jews, with Christians, with the non-Muslim tribe, then mercy through his treaties, international treaties with other nations, then through his special sermons. These are various evidences. Then mercy through the rights given to the humanity by Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the full book on human rights in Islam, and all aspects which deal with the mercifulness of Holy Prophet ﷺ and his generosity and his benevolence, and the mercy of Islam and generosity of Islam and the benevolence of Islam to all other nations. So these were various forms which I had in my mind to discuss. Now, cutting short, I would like to explain 2 or 3 aspects just of the religion of Islam. We will inshallah, and after that we had a plan of discussing the usulul hadith, science of hadith. What is hadith sahih, what is hadith da'if, what is hadith mawdu, what is the difference between them. And I wanted to remove all confusions and ambiguities which exist in the minds of people in general and many scholars and speakers. As a special case, they can't appreciate properly and technically and exactly the difference between sahih and ghair sahih. They intermingle. According to this, they think every ghair sahih is mawdu. This is a very big mistake and academic error in the science of hadith. So what is the difference between sahih and hasan, and difference between hasan and da'if? Whether a hadith which is da'if, weak, is acceptable or not. So it has 16 categories of hadith da'if. Only 2 are rejectable. and 14 kinds of hadith da'if are acceptable. And people don't know about it. So I wanted to explain this thing in our second session, and then certain question and answer session. We will, inshallah, we might have 1 or 2 sessions sometimes later in various different subjects. Today, now, which I would like to explain certain. This is my book, Al-Hukm-ul-Shari'i, written on Islamic jurisprudence. And the whole book of 400 pages is just on the concept of hukm. It explains what hukm is, the definition of law, nothing else. The whole book is just on the definition of law. Definition of law is known as hukm in Islamic terminology. And for, as we say in the Western world, the law, this is qanoon. And qanoon is known as the rule. There's a difference between law and rule. Law is given by Almighty Allah and His Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And law is based on the fundamental sources of Sharia. Qur'an, Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas and other subsidiary sources. There are 3 kinds of sources. Primary sources of Sharia, secondary sources of Sharia, and subsidiary sources of Sharia. So law is known as any principle which is given or which is derived through the fundamental or secondary or subsidiary sources of Sharia, which comes through Sharia. And the rule which comes through the secular modes of legislation, which is known as qanoon or law in the Western world. So that is rule. That is also available under the ijtihad. This is the right of legislatures and the parliaments. So this is different subject. So what the law is just the definition of hukm and its constituent elements. Who is the lawgiver? What is the law itself? Who are the subjects of law? So these 4 aspects of the law has been dealt with in this book. So today, which I am going to explain now, leaving all other aspects, is when we talk of the mercy of Islam or the merciful character of Islam and the openness and the easiness which has been granted to mankind through Islam and the convenience which has been provided with, the humanity has been provided with the convenience and given by Almighty Allah and His Holy Prophet, and easiness which has been given. When we talk on religion, on Islam as a religion, as a system of life, or maybe 2 or 3 examples just for this session today. And this will, I think, alhamdulillah, provide you a lot of understanding and lot of clarity on certain Islamic, legal, jurisprudential aspects, and I hope a lot many ambiguities and misconceptions and confusions will automatically be removed through clarity on this single point. And that is that Islam primarily does not prohibit anything. No thing and no act in this world in its original capacity is prohibited. Nothing is forbidden in its original capacity according to Islam unless contrary is proved. Unless there is a specific provision of Quran or Sunnah, unless there is an express and explicit and a positive provision given by Quran or Sunnah forbidding that particular act or prohibiting that particular act or declaring that particular thing or act to be forbidden and prohibited. Unless there is no specific provision of prohibition, nothing would be considered to be forbidden. everything would be considered as permissible, as indifferent. It would be your option whether you want to do it or you don't want to, whether you commit it or you omit it, whether you perform it or you abstain from it. It's your free will option, your free consent. A very big option, a very big discretion has been given to the mankind through Islam. And this is the sole characteristic of Islam as a religion. And this condition or this blessing is not available in any other system of law. Every system of law, maybe North American, maybe British, European, Eastern or Western, it will provide you with two kinds of commandments or two kinds of laws. Laws of commission, laws of omission. Either sometimes something would be lawful or something would be unlawful. Some acts would be permitted to be performed and some acts would be prohibited and you would be supposed to abstain from them. So every law consists of two categories. Every code of law in this world contains in just two categories, either yes or no, except Islam. And this is one of the biggest manifestations of Allah's and His Prophet's mercy on mankind, that Islam originally does not declare anything, whether it is eatable, any dress, any item of use, any item of beauty, any item of decoration, any kind of celebration, any activity, according to Islam in its original capacity. Its original capacity is permissibility. It is permissible in its original capacity. Nothing is prohibited and forbidden originally. So what happened? Only those things became forbidden and those things and those acts became prohibited which were categorically declared in Qur'an to be prohibited, or which were categorically declared by Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through his established Hadith and Sunnah as forbidden or as disapproved. Only those things which were prohibited expressly, categorically, positively, explicitly, they became forbidden and they were excluded from this original capacity of permissibility, where everything originally was permissible. Mankind was allowed to eat everything except those which were later on declared by the Sharia to be forbidden. This is known as the principle of original permissibility. This is one of the most important and one of the biggest forms and manifestations of mercy of Almighty Allah and mercy of Holy Prophet ﷺ and mercy of the Islam on mankind and on the Muslims, of course. So I would like to quote some Quranic verses on this particular, to establish this basic phenomena. Although there are the rulings of authorities, there are authorities of the various Islamic jurists, of Hanafi jurists, of Shafi'i jurists, of Hanbali jurists, of great e-Rehmah, of Muhaddiseen, there are, but I am going directly on the authority of Quran. This is in Arabic is known as al-aslu fil ashiya'i al-ibaha. You don't have the whiteboard and thing. al-aslu fil ashiya'i al-ibaha and al-aslu fil af'ali al-ibaha. That original capacity of everything is ibaha, permissibility. And original capacity, legal capacity of every act is al-ibaha, permissibility. The reason why I have chosen this aspect, let me explain this reason so that you may have a vision of a thing and the relevance of this particular subject. In most of the time you see, you celebrate something. Even you celebrate birthdays of your own children. You cut the cakes. You blow the candles. You decorate your house sometimes. Just under the limit of israf and tabzir, not going up to that extent. You celebrate many other items, aspects. You eat many things. You celebrate the birthday of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You celebrate the Mawlidun Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You birthday, the various dates or in connection of various saints and awliya and salihin. Then you eat lot many things. Then you wear various kinds of dresses, even the tie and your dresses, your jackets and all your western kind of dresses, everything. You make various styles of your houses. You do certain spiritual acts just as for blessing, for barakah. You don't consider them as fard, as mandatory or compulsory or imperative. You don't consider like that. You perform certain acts just for blessing and barakah. So what happens? Some people ask you, this is haram, this is bid'ah, this is an innovation, this is forbidden, this is haram. Some people say you. And they ask, what is the evidence of the permission for this act? They ask you, where it is written in Quran or Hadith, what is the evidence that you may perform this particular act or you may do this particular practice? So they ask for an evidence. This is the basic problem. So after this discussion, I want to change the direction. Forever, I want you be relaxed in your life. If you are considering any particular act as permissible, if you are considering or practicing any particular act, or you are celebrating any particular day or any particular event, considering it permissible, allowed, you are not supposed to provide any evidence for that. This is the scheme of the Sharia law. You are absolutely not required. You are absolutely not supposed to provide any kind of evidence on its permissibility, neither from Quran or Sunnah or from the practice of the companions. Absolutely. You are not responsible for that. Then who is responsible? The one who is saying this is haram. He is under an obligation to provide an evidence and dalil from Quran and Sunnah, which dalil should establish that this particular act is haram. This is his responsibility to provide the dalil, to provide an evidence, to provide an authority of being prohibited about that act, to provide an authority of its being forbidden. He is under responsibility, not the performer, not the actor, not the one who believes in its permissibility. Why? Because permissibility of every act, originally, this is its original capacity. Even if you don't have any example from the Sunnah of Holy Prophet, if you don't have any backup authority from any practice of the companion, any reference from Quran, any reference from Hadith, any reference of any book, if you don't have any supporting evidence, any supporting authority in favor of your point of view, even then that act remains permissible unless contrary is proved, unless the objector, the one who is criticizing, the one who is declaring this as bid'ah, as haram, as wrong, unless he provides a categorical and explicit evidence on its prohibition and being forbidden. If he can't provide a dalil from Quran and Hadith on its being prohibited, so he has no right to challenge its permissibility, because original permissibility has been granted by Almighty Allah and Islam. So anybody asks you, why are you celebrating this? Many people think, but the birthdays of the kids and these kind of celebrations, everything is bid'ah. What is wrong with that? So you have to provide any authority why this is forbidden. So the Quranic scheme and Islamic scheme of law and Sharia is that Almighty Allah and Holy Prophet and Islam just gives the list of prohibited things and doesn't give any list of permissibles. Whatever is forbidden through Quran and Sunnah would be excluded out. That would be taken out of the ambit of general permissibility. That would be taken away from the purview and from the circle of original permissibility, and accept those things which were categorically prohibited by Quran or Hadith. All remaining items and acts would remain permissible. They will stay with their permissibility. This is the basic philosophy. The first authority on that is Holy Quran says, Ma ja'ala a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim la ikraha fid din. This is a verse of Surah Baqarah, verse number 256. Baqarah is chapter number 2, verse number 256. A famous verse, La ikraha fid din. I am starting from generality to specific. This is a general evidences. Then we will come to the specific. Holy Quran says that there is no compulsion in deen. And by compulsion means there is no narrowness in deen. No compulsion, no coercion in deen. Even you can't compel and you can't force anyone to embrace Islam. You can't force any non-Muslim to embrace Islam. Any non-Muslim cannot be forced to accept Islam. This is one aspect. And when you are already a Muslim, so in practice of Islam, there is again no coercion, no compulsion, no narrowness regarding the ahkam of Sharia. Then next, comparatively more specific verse. In Holy Quran, I am quoting Surah Al-Hajj. Its number is 22, verse 78. It is stated, وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. مَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Almighty Allah has not made any kind of narrowness in deen of Islam. Almighty Allah has not commanded, has not suggested, has not provided, has not created, and He has not commanded any kind of narrowness in deen of Islam. Haraj is narrowness. Then third verse, I am quoting Surah Al-Baqarah. This is chapter 2, verse number 185. Then again, Quranic authority states, Yuridullahu bikumul yusra, wala yuridu bikumul usr. Almighty Allah wants easiness for you, and He doesn't want any kind of difficulty for you. You know, this is how Almighty Allah's will. He wants easiness to provide you with easiness. He wants to provide you with openness. He wants to provide you with convenience. He does not want to create any kind of inconvenience and uneasiness in your life. This is the third verse of the Holy Qur'an. Again, next, I am quoting Surah An-Nisa. This is chapter 4, verse 28. يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا. It is stated in Holy Quran that Almighty Allah, His plan is, He wants to remove now. You see, first of all, in the beginning Almighty Allah has given His basic plan, that originally He has not created any kind of narrowness or difficulty or inconvenience in His deen for you. This is the one principle contained in many verses. Then He says that He doesn't want you to provide with any kind of difficulty and narrowness, rather He wants to provide you with convenience and easiness. And now, thirdly, Quran says that Almighty Allah wants, if there is any difficulty or narrowness or any problem or any inconvenience already you are feeling in your life, for example, this matter of prayer, you are praying and you are ill, you can't do wudu, you are traveling, water is not available, you can't pray standing, you can't perform lot many other acts because of certain problems, because of certain matters, hindrances, intervening factors are there. So you need certain kind of relaxation, exemption. So Almighty Allah says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. If you feel, already you feel any kind of difficulty, Almighty Allah wants to remove every kind of difficulty from your life. Why? خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. He knows, being the creator of mankind, that insan is weak in his nature. Man is weak. Then stated in Surah Baqarah, again chapter 2, verse 286. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Almighty Allah does not impose through His commandment, He does not impose any responsibility on your shoulders which is beyond your ability, which is beyond your capacity. So here the level of responsibility differs from person to person, from situation to situation. Chapter 2, Baqarah, verse 286. Then coming to the hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are many other verses too. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ بِالْحَنِيفِيَّةِ السَّمْحَةِ. وفي رواية قال بُعِثْتُ بِالْحَنِيفِيَّةِ السَّمْحَةِ. Holy Prophet, this hadith is reported by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in Musnad, hadith number 22,345. 22,345. Holy Prophet ﷺ said that I have been raised with a very easy deen. I have been raised with a very easy, practicable deen. So deen which I have brought to you, there is no difficulty in practicing that deen. This is the basic characteristic and basic feature of this deen which I have brought to you, which I have been raised with. Then again, Imam Bukhari narrates, first of all, Imam Ibn Hayyan, he narrates, Ibn Hayyan Ansari, he says that, قَالَ خَيْرُ دِينِكُمْ أَيْسَرُهُ. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the best part of your deen is the one which is the easiest. The best part of your religion is the one which is the easiest. So, an act which can easily be performed is the best part of your deen, would be considered to be the best act of Islam. Then Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha reports, and it is reported in Sahih Bukhari, Hadith number is 5775, 5775, and again Sahih Muslim, Hadith number 2327. Ma khuyyira ay Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam bayna amrayn illa ikhtara aysaraha ma lam yakun ithma. Now the practice of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was that whenever he was given an option between the two, whenever he was given a discretion, an option, a right of choosing, right of selection between two things, his sunnah and his practice was he would always choose the easier one. Aisarha. He would always go for the easiest, and he will never choose the difficult aspect, because he wanted to place the easy way of his sunnah in front of his ummah. Then again it comes in Sahih Bukhari, Hadith number is 39, Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Ad-Deenu Yusrun. Deen of Islam itself is the name of easiness. The Deen of Islam is the easiness. Again another hadith reported by Muaz bin Jabal Abu Musa Ashari radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, reported by Imam Bukhari in As-Sahih, Hadith, and Jami Tirmizi also. Holy Prophet ﷺ said to both of these companions when they were sent to Yemen, to Philistine. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Yassira wala tu'assira wa bashira wala tunaffira. And again the same hadith with different words come in Sahih Bukhari, Hadith number 69, where Holy Prophet ﷺ addressed his companions as a whole and said, Yassiru wala tu'assiru wa bashiru wala tunaffiru. O my companions, it is imperative and incumbent on you that you should provide, while preaching Islam, while you explain the commandments of Islam, when you are communicating the teachings of Islam to the people, when you are teaching Islam to the people, it is incumbent, it is imperative on you. This is your duty, that you should preach Islam as easy deen. Place the easy aspects of the teachings of Islam in front of the people. Communicate the easy things, the easy ways of practice, the easy meanings, the easy applications and implications, the easy significances. Give them the interpretation of Islam and teachings of Islam which they may feel very easy to receive, to accept and to practice. Yassira, provide easiness to my ummah, to the people. Wala tu'assira, and don't provide any kind of inconvenience and difficulty and narrowness. Don't put them in trouble. Don't make the deen very difficult for them to practice. Preach your deen in a form that it is very easy to be adopted and practiced. وَبَشِّرَ وَلَا تُنَفِّرَ. and preach your deen in a way that it looks attractive to them and they feel joy, happiness, pleasure. It should be a good tidings for them. Wala tunaffira, don't create hatred about deen in their minds. If they feel it is difficult to practice, so this will take away this vision or this feeling or this understanding or this perception. This will take them away from my deen. I want them to be attracted to my deen. And attraction can only take place if they get a message or a feeling of easiness and they get pleasure from it. So these were the hadith. Then just giving you the basic principle from Holy Quran, just quoting certain verses. For example, it is stated, Hurrimat alaykum ummahatukum wa banatukum wa akhawatukum wa ammatukum wa khalatukum ila akhir al-ayah an tajma'u bayna al-ukhtayn illa ma qad salaf. This is a Quranic verse of Surah Nisa, Quranic authority, chapter number 4, verse number 23. Now I am giving the specific authority on that particular principle. Quran has mentioned various categories of prohibitions for your marriage. These particular relations are prohibited for you. You can't marry your mothers, with your daughters, with your sisters, with your aunts, so and so forth. Your grandchildren, daughters and things. The whole list of prohibitions have been mentioned as far as the marital relationship is concerned. And in the end, this is verse number 23. Next verse is verse number 24, same Surah Nisa, verse 24. In the end, Quran says, وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. Whatever was prohibited, Quran says, it has been mentioned to you. Whatever was forbidden, it has been categorized. It has been positively listed to you. It has positively mentioned and commanded to you whatever was forbidden. Now you may ask, what is permissible for us? Almighty Allah says, وَحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. Excluding these prohibitions, all other relations are permitted for you. This is the principle which I explained in the beginning. وَحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. This is the jurisprudential principle inserted in Holy Quran. This is a Quranic jurisprudential principle, that all prohibited relations have been listed in the Holy Quran, and then it is stated whatever is other than these prohibitions is permissible for you, because other thing except these specific prohibitions will come under the principle of general permissibility. So here lies this jurisprudential principle in Quran. So all those relationships, all those women, those ladies who have been declared to be prohibited for your marital relationship, for your conjugal relationships, they have been expressly and categorically prohibited in Quran, and a categorical list has been provided in Holy Quran, and list contains the prohibitions. Now a natural question arises in a mind, O Almighty Allah, these all relations and women are prohibited. Who are permissible for us? So Quran has laid down the jurisprudential principles saying, وَحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. Exclude all these prohibitions, whatever is left is permissible for you. This is the basic principle, that Quran and Sunnah and Sharia and Islam gives just the list of prohibitions. Whatever is forbidden, that list is provided. And whatever is not listed in that prohibition is uhilla lakum, halal for you. This is in connection of relations. Now same thing Quran says in Surah Baqarah, verse number 173. Baqarah 173. And the same subject more elaborately in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Al-Ma'idah chapter 5, verse number 3. Quran says again, giving a list of eatables. These animals are prohibited for you, forbidden. Hurrimat alaykumul maytatu waddamu. وَلَحْمُ الْخِنْزِيرِ وَمَا أُحِلَّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ بِهِ وَالْمُنْخَنِقَةُ وَالْمَوْقُوذَةُ وَالْمُتَرَدِّيَّةُ وَالنَّطِيحَةُ وَمَا أَكَلَ السَّبُعُ إِلَّا مَا ذَكَّيْتُمْ وَمَا ذُبِحَ عَلَى النُّصُبِ وَأَن تَسْتَقْسِمُوا بِالْأَزْلَامِ ذَلِكَ فِسْقٌ. Again, another list of eatables, prohibitions have been mentioned. Any animal which died its natural death without being properly slaughtered is maita. And let me explain. Quran has declared every maita, every animal or bird which died without being properly slaughtered. According to Quran, every maita is haram. There is not a single exception in whole of Holy Quran. Every maita is haram. All those animals which are otherwise permissible, to eat, but they were not slaughtered properly according to Sharia. They died, their natural deaths, they are haram. So there is no exception in Holy Quran. This specific point relating to the authority of Sunnah, authority of Hadith of Holy Prophet. Holy Prophet's legislative authority, his legislative position. I'm referring to that aspect. So Quran has not given a single exception in this matter. But Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Kullu maitatin haramun illa maitatan. Every maita is haram, is prohibited, except two. And one of these two is fish. So you eat fish without slaughtering it. You eat fish and this is maita when you eat. And maita is haram according to Quran. There is no exception. So who created this exemption clause in Quranic commandment? Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why this is an established Islamic principle that Quran and Hadith of Sunnah, Hadith or Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, they both are the basic and fundamental sources of Islamic law, of halal and haram, of the ahkam and commandments of Sharia. Whatever is established through Quran, in the same way, whatever is established through the Sunnah, it possesses the same legal capacity. It possesses the same Sharia capacity. So Quran can declare anything halal or haram, and Hadith of Holy Prophet can also declare anything halal or haram. This was just a single example. So in the same way, the blood is haram, pork, its meat, it is haram, and all those animals which were slaughtered and other than Allah, somebody else's name was invoked at the time of slaughtering, and then various kinds of other animals who had died. And mentioned all these list of the prohibited has been given, and no list of permissibles is provided in Holy Quran. No list of permissibles is provided in Holy Quran. It means whatever was prohibited has been categorically mentioned. Whatever is remaining, it is permissible for you. Holy Quran says in Al-An'am, Surah Al-An'am, verse number 119. 119. Now, the principle which I have explained has been literally laid down in Holy Quran. This principle has been literally laid down in Holy Quran. It is stated, قَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Almighty Allah has explained in detail everything which was prohibited for you. That's it. And Quran Majid has never stated that Almighty Allah has explained in detail whatever is permissible for you. He never states like that. Whatever was prohibited, whatever was forbidden, Allah has explained you in detail. And whatever has not been prohibited in Quran or Sunnah of Holy Prophet, take it as permissible and lawful. This is the basic principle of Islamic Sharia, based on the mercy. And Quran says in Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, it is verse number 29, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Whatever is available in this world, on the land, Almighty Allah has created for you, for your benefit, for your use, except those things which has been excluded from this general permissibility by the provision of prohibition, by the commandment of prohibition, that's it. So prohibition is excluded, so the dalil would be asked on prohibition and not on permission. Evidence is required, that evidence should be provided just on the claimant of prohibition, the person who claims that these acts or these things are haram. He is supposed to provide the evidence in which list of Quran this is included. Where in Quran, give me an authority of Quran where it is mentioned this is haram, or Holy Prophet said this is haram, or the companions declared to be haram in the light of the commandment of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And wherever you find the silence, whenever you find silence on a particular act, silence means permissibility. If when somebody says there is no evidence on this thing in Quran and Sunnah, being no evidence on that particular act is an evidence. Inavailability of the evidence, the silence, being there is no evidence on this particular act that it is lawful, this thing itself is an evidence. This is an evidence, and this is known as mubah. This is known as, if there is an evidence, I mean positive evidence, do this, perform this, act upon this, you are supposed to do this, it is recommended for you, it is compulsorily stated, it is imperatively stated, it is incumbent on you to do that. Any kind, any form, there are dozens of various modes of Quranic legislation and wordings of Quran and Hadith. In any way, if it is categorically commanded in Quran and Hadith, then it will not come under the purview of mubah, that it will not fall in the purview of jaiz or permissible, then it will fall anywhere in higher degree. It will fall anywhere in some higher degree. And just jaiz is the one which is neither mentioned in halal nor mentioned in haram. And there is silence on that particular act. Silence of Sharia itself is a very big evidence. It leads to permissibility. Silence means, no, go back. Silence refers you to its original permissibility. Silence refers and leads you to its original capacity. And original capacity of everything and every act, that is permissibility. Silence. So it comes in Holy Quran. Now there are many authorities on this particular in commentary of this verse, that everything in this world has been created for your use and your benefit. Don't ban on you. At once Quran says to the old nations that Almighty Allah declared whatever was halal or whatever was haram for you, or He provided you many things for your use. But why did you create a barrier of halal and haram on your own? Did you receive any kind of authority from Allah to declare this is halal and this is haram? Almighty Allah had blessed you with a lot of these things, and everything was for you and your benefit. Why did you limited Allah's blessing for you? This has been asked question by Almighty Allah in next Quranic verse. In the same way, the same has been narrated by Imam Abu Bakr al-Jassas in his tafsir, Allama Zamakhshari in Kashaf, Imam Qurtubi in Al-Jami' al-Bayan, Imam An-Nasafi, Allama Mahmud Alusi, Imam Al-Qazi Al-Baydawi. I have quoted all these names of the Imams of tafsir. Imam Abu Saud Al-Imadi, everyone, all these Imams have, Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti, all of these Imams have categorically stated that under these Quranic verses, This principle of Sharia has been mentioned through Quran, that everything which is not prohibited is halal, is jaiz, is permissible. Then a great Quranic evidence on this principle, very significant, is that is from Surah Al-Ma'idah. Al-Ma'idah is chapter 5, verse number 101. 101. It is stated, very significant, and I think the most relevant authority of Quran on this particular subject. Stated, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tas'alu an ashiya'a in tubda lakum tasu'ukum wa in tas'alu anha hina yunazzalu al-Qur'an tubda lakum afallahu anha wallahu ghafurun halim. I repeat, this is the verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah. It is chapter 5, verse number 101. 101. This is an address to the believers. Oh, people who believe. Oh, believers. Don't ask any question about anything on which Almighty Allah and His Prophet is silent. Anything which has been just ignored. Don't ask any question from Holy Prophet ﷺ about its legal position. Ya Rasulullah, whether this is lawful or unlawful. Should we do it or not? Whether this is permissible for us or not. Don't ask questions on those particular things or acts which have been already ignored, neglected. And Quran is silent on that. And His Prophet is silent on that. Then don't get benefit from his silence. And don't ask specific questions. Then Quran says, what will happen? If you ask any specific question, and there is a possibility that to answer this question, Almighty Allah will reveal some verse. Or Holy Prophet ﷺ will utter some things. So on your responding your question, when Quranic verse will reveal, then Quran will specify, give a specific answer to your question, and which was ignored, and it was made absolutely permissible for you, that will become limited, because a specific command will limit its capacity. Either Quran will make it fard, an act of commission, maybe you are unable to perform it, or Quran will make it prohibited, maybe you liked it to use or to eat. So either it would be this way or it would be that way. And silence of Quran means that He has left to your discretion. Afallahu anha. This is Almighty Allah's forgiveness. This is His mercy. This is His benevolence. This is His generosity. He wants to leave very big room for your discretions and options. He wants to make His commandments and deen very easy for you to practice. And if you ask the questions and respond of your question, Quranic verse will reveal, and Quranic word will snatch, will take away your discretion, because a specific order will come down then. And you will be deprived of your open discretion and your open options. Then Quran says, Hina yunazzalul Quran. Don't forget the Quran is still in a process of revelation. If you ask anything, at any time responding your question, Quranic verse can reveal and your discretion will go away. So get benefit and get benefit of the silence of Quran and silence of Prophet and silence of Almighty Allah. And the same principle Holy Prophet ﷺ explained in Hadis. Beautiful. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, this is in Sahih Muslim, Hadith is Sahih, volume 1, page 432. When Holy Prophet ﷺ, this verse was revealed, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. And the Hajj, the pilgrimage, was made fard for Muslims, those who can afford. So an imperative and mandatory command was revealed. Some of the companions stood up. He asked, Afi kulli amin ya Rasulallah, to perform Hajj is for every year? Holy Prophet ﷺ turned his face. He remained silent, didn't answer. He again came from that side, asked, Ya Rasulullah, Afi kulli amin? Now we are supposed to perform Hajj every year. Quran has not mentioned every year or once in a life, nothing. Just it is fard. That's it. He was asking, is it fard? Is it mandatory every year? Holy Prophet remained silent. He asked 3 times the same question. Then Holy Prophet replied, "Law qultu na'am la wajabat." Again, this is the legislative authority, refers to legislative authority of Holy Prophet, his position, and legislative authority of the Hadith of Holy Prophet, like Quran. Even if Quran is silent, you are asking me whether we are supposed to perform Hajj every year. Holy Prophet said, "Law qultu na'am la wajabat." If I had said yes, it would have become compulsory for every year. So any word uttered from the mouth of Holy Prophet has the same legal, juristic and Sharia significance as the words of Holy Quran. The reason is that Quran is wahi of Almighty Allah, and in the same way Sunnah and Hadith of Holy Prophet is also wahi of Almighty Allah. Quran and Sunnah both are wahi, revelation. Difference between the two is that Quran is wahi, revelation of Almighty Allah in its letter and spirit. Words and meanings both are revealed from Almighty Allah. And as far as the Hadith and Sunnah is concerned, meanings and spirit is revealed from Almighty Allah, and words are of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Letters and words of our Holy Prophets, meanings and spirit is revealed from Almighty Allah. That's why we do recitation of Quran and we read and understand Hadith, not recitation in that way. But as far as the legal implication and significance is concerned, whatever was uttered from the mouth by the mouth of Holy Prophet ﷺ, that Holy Quran itself has declared whatever he utters, any word he says, any speech which you hear from his mouth, any sentence which he utters from his holy mouth, it is wahi, because he never says anything from his own wish. Surah An-Najm, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He never speaks out of his own wish. He never utters even a single word out of his own wish. In huwa illa wahyun yuha. Every single word which he utters from his mouth is wahi, which is revealed on him. So this Quranic verse declares the status of the Hadith and Sunnah of Holy Prophet equal to the status of Quran as far as the legislative capacity is concerned, not the gradation. When we talk of the legislative capacity, legislative ability, legislative position, legislative authority, then Quran and Sunnah are the same. When we talk of grades and ranks, then Quran is number 1, because in letter and spirit both this is revelation. And Hadith and Sunnah comes number 2, because spirit and meanings are revealed on Holy Prophet by Almighty Allah, but words are his own. So that's why we say first Holy Quran and second Holy Hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ. But both fall within the same category that is known as fundamental sources of Islamic law. Same category. That's why Almighty Allah commanded, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'ullaha wa ati'ur rasula wa ulil amri minkum. 3 sources of Sharia have been mentioned in this Quranic verse. O faithful, O believers, obey Almighty Allah. Then the word ati'u, this commandment is repeated verbally and literally. Wa ati'ur rasul, and obey the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then ulil amr, the third obedience has been mentioned, but the commandment of ati'u has not been repeated. Wa ulil amri minkum, ati'ullah wa ati'ur rasul. The commandment of ati'u for Allah, all the 3 words would have come under the same command, ati'u. It was more precise. But atiullah wa atiur Rasul. This is like one body say, you please drink this water and you drink this water. Please, you eat and you eat. This is a good form of communication, or this one, that you both may eat, or all of you eat, or even naming each and every person and repeating the word eat this, drink this, stand up, repeating this command or the verb for everybody. This is not the better way. But here for Holy Prophet ﷺ, the command atiyu has been repeated. And it has not been repeated for ulil amr, the men in authority. They are the khulafa, they are the imams, they are the great authorities, and they are the leaders of Muslim ummah and heads of the Islamic State. All categories, what kind of authority they are possessing. So for them, atiyu has not been repeated. But atiyu has been repeated for Holy Prophet ﷺ. The A'immah of Tafsir say that why here is repeated and third place is deleted. The reason is that the ita'ah of Holy Prophet ﷺ is also permanent in the same way as the permanence of ita'at of Almighty Allah. Obedience to Holy Prophet ﷺ is also absolute in the same way as is absolute as the obedience to Almighty Allah is absolute, as is Allah's absoluteness of ita'ah. So Holy Prophet's ita'ah is also permanent. It is also absolute. It is also unchallengeable. It is also non-contingent. It is also unconditional. It is also persistent and perpetual. Its commandment is also unending. There is no exception to it. There is no challenge to it. There is no if and but for that. There is no conditionality can be imposed on the authority of the Sunnah of Holy Prophet. Why? Because Almighty Allah has placed the ita'ah of Holy Prophet ﷺ at the same station where He has placed His own ita'ah. They both have been categorized in a single bracket. It has been made a one category. And as far as other than Holy Prophet, the ita'ah of other people, right from the khulafa up to imams and the head of the state, their category has been made different, where the word atiyu is deleted. Now deletion means that their ita'at is not permanent. Their obedience of ulil amr is not unchallengeable. Their obedience is not absolute. Rather, their obedience is qualified. Their obedience is temporary. Their obedience is contingent. Their obedience is conditional. What kind of condition has been imposed? Condition that if they follow Holy Prophet and Almighty Allah, then they would be obeyed. If their obedience itself falls within the purview of following of Holy Prophet and Almighty Allah, then their obedience would become incumbent on you. And if they transgress, if they break the limit, if they cross the limit, if they themselves do not follow, then their obedience is not binding on you. Whereas this kind of if or any kind of conditionality you cannot impose on the status of the obedience to Holy Prophet ﷺ, that if this is in consistence to Qur'an, only then we will obey the Hadith of Holy Sunnah. If the Sunnah of Holy Prophet is in consonance with Holy Qur'an, then we will obey it. If the commandment of Holy Prophet ﷺ is consistent to the Qur'an, is in accordance to the provision of Qur'an, then we will obey the commandment of Holy Prophet ﷺ. If you said this word, you became kafir. You leave your faith by putting a condition on absolute authority of the Sunnah of Holy Prophet, by putting any conditionality, any contingency, by imposing any qualification, by imposing any if and but on an absolute authority of the position of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the same time you will become kafir. Because Almighty Allah through the Quran has declared the absoluteness of the authority of Holy Prophet, and you are conditioning it and you are qualifying it. So you are degrading him. Whereas the other men in authority are concerned, their obedience and following is conditional. So this way Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Law qultu na'am lawajabat. If I had said yes in response of your question that whether we are supposed to perform Hajj every year, if I had uttered a word yes, it would have become compulsory for you. Then he said, Zaruni ma taraktukum. If I remain silent, you should remain silent. Don't ask any question if I am silent on a particular subject, because my silence here, you see in that Quranic verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 101, the same authority and the same position in Quran has been laid down in connection of Allah's command. Now the same thing has been referred to the Holy Prophet's command. And this is Hadith Sahih of Sahih Muslim, Hadith volume 1432, page 42. There Quran said that if Allah says, if I am silent and I am not revealing any particular verse on a specific subject, so you should get benefit of my silence. Don't ask any question. My silence means that I am benevolent and generous on you, and I am providing you a very big chance of discretion, an open discretion and option. So it is permissible if I am silent. Don't ask questions. Same thing Holy Prophet ﷺ said about himself. He said, Dharuni ma taraktukum. If I remain silent 3 times. If I remain silent, you should leave me. Don't ask any question in my silence. Because in my silence, if I break my silence and in your response I say yes, then it will become a commandment. If I say no, it will become haram, a prohibition. So utterance and a movement of lip of Holy Prophet ﷺ becomes a commandment of Sharia. In the same way as a single word revealed by Almighty Allah in Quran becomes a commandment of Sharia. A single word uttered by Holy Prophet ﷺ becomes Sharia. What is Sharia? Sharia is either the commandment of Allah, and commandment of Allah is just an abstract idea. Allah's commandment and Quranic verses, they are just an abstract ideas. There are no models of behavior in Quran. Aqimus salah. You are supposed to perform your prayers. This is just an abstract idea. There is no model of behavior has been given in Quran. Model comes through Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Model of conduct, model of practice, model of following. That's why it is stated, Qul in kuntum tuhibbun Allah fattabi'uni. If you love Almighty Allah and you love to obey the commandment of Almighty Allah, so there is no other way except following me. So Holy Prophet ﷺ, every movement of Holy Prophet ﷺ, every single word uttered by Holy Prophet ﷺ, every single act and deed committed and performed by Holy Prophet ﷺ itself constitutes the body of Sharia. The whole body of Sharia has been originally and primarily and fundamentally constituted by 2 things, either by the commandment of Allah or by the commandment and practice of Holy Prophet ﷺ. And there is nothing else which would make Sharia. So the commandments of Quran are just meanings, communications, messages, teachings, abstract ideas. And you can't do anything just basing on Quran. Because Almighty Allah has never shown you how to pray. Allah is beyond that. Allah has never shown how to perform Hajj. Allah has never fasted, and He has never performed the way how to fast. He has never performed how to put the ihram on you. He has never performed He has never practiced any single commandment of Him. He has just communicated His messages, His do's and don'ts, His commissions and His omissions to you. And He has left everything to personify it, to present it in a model form, to present it in a practicable form, to present it in a perceptible form, to present it in a conceptual form, to present it in a physical form, in a feasible form, in a workable form, in a viable form, in a visible form. All commandments of Almighty Allah became visible and became feasible just with the body and the personality of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's why you can't go away from Holy Prophet. You can't get rid of. There is no directness between a man and God. This idea is absolutely misguided. And those people are in fact misguided. Those who don't try to understand the station, the honored and the esteemed station of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For Muslim ummah, there is no directness, relationship of directness between a man and God. Nobody has ever seen Almighty Allah in His existence. Nobody has ever perceived Him because He is not perceivable. Nobody has ever conceived Him because He is not a conception. Nobody has ever understood Him, neither through our eyes, the five senses, nor through our ears, nor through nor through touching, nor through smelling, nor through hearing, nor through seeing. Nobody has ever perceived and nobody can perceive Almighty Allah. He is beyond our perceptions. And then He is beyond our conceptions. Because there is a clear relationship between perception and conception. No conception can come into existence without a prior perception. Conception without perception is blind. You can't formulate any conception, any idea in your mind without perception through your senses. A child who is blind by birth, he has no conception of blue and red and green and white and black. Because the source through which he was supposed to understand the colors, that is not available to him. So every conception is based on a perception. Every conception is based on a perception. Unless you are able to perceive something physically in any form, you are totally unable to conceive it. So when conception is based on perception, are we able to perceive Almighty Allah's existence? No. Answer is no. Then are we able to conceive Almighty Allah's existence? So He is beyond our perception and He is beyond our conception. That's why He just communicates His will, His commandment, His orders in the form of revelation. That's why He has raised the prophets and messengers to the mankind. So that whatever Almighty Allah wills, that is performed through the conduct and behavior of the prophet and messenger for the mankind. So the mankind is connected to the prophet. The ummah at the first stage, the immediate stage, the first and immediate level, the ummah is supposed to get connected with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to receive the knowledge. Even we have never received the Holy Qur'an from Almighty Allah. Never the angel Jibreel was revealed on us. Never, we never, anyone, even Abu Bakr and Umar never heard the revelation of Qur'an. They never knew even the distinction between Qur'an and the Hadith. When the first verses of Qur'an were being revealed on Holy Prophet, Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq. The first 5 verses. He came out from the cave of Hira. He recited these verses first time. This was a new experience for the people, for his followers. They asked him, Ya Rasulullah, what are these words and sentences we are hearing for you first time in our life? The language was Arabic. Nobody can ever imagine what is the difference between this may be Holy Prophet's own message, his teaching. This may be a revelation. What is this? You are reciting Iqra bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq khalaqal insana min alaq. That was a natural question. So what was Holy Prophet's answer? His answer was, this is a very delicate thing. His answer was, this is Qur'an revealed on me. He recited the verses of Quran. He was asked by the companion, Ya Rasulullah, what is this? What is this paragraph? What are these sentences? What are these words? Responding their questions, Holy Prophet answered, he said, this is Quran revealed on me. Now, my question is from you. These were the verses, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, 5 verses up to Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. These were the 5 verses which was revealed in Cave of Hira, which Holy Prophet recited to companions. On these verses of Quran, they questioned and answered, Ya Rasulullah, what is this? And he answered, this is Quran which has been revealed on me when I was in Cave of Hira. Angel Jibreel came to me. He revealed these verses from Almighty Allah. He revealed on me through Angel Jibreel. So this is Allah's book. Now my question is, these words explaining the capacity, explaining the status, identifying those 5 verses, but this is Quran. Shaykh Nazim Baksh. My question is, these words, these sentences, this is Quran which Angel Jibreel brought to me when I was in Cave of Hira and this and that. All these sentences are Quran or Hadith of Holy Prophet. What are these sentences? Identifying that this is Quran which has been revealed on me. Are these verses the Quran itself, or these are the sentences of Holy Prophet? This is Hadith of Holy Prophet. This is Hadith which identified the Quran. So when they heard the answer that these words are Quran revealed on me, then they accepted it. So the question is, what was the first stage of their faith? Did they accept directly Quran, or they first of all brought their faith in Hadith of Holy Prophet, and through Hadith of Holy Prophet, this Hadith led them to the Quran? Who opened the door of realizing the Quran in front of them? Who led them to the divine reality of Quran? Who took them to the divinity of Quran? Who made them realize that these are the Quranic verses revealed in Holy Prophet? This was Hadith which made them realized. This was Hadith which led them to the Quran. This was Hadith which took them to the divinity. So who became the means between the Sahaba and Allah? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam became the means, and his words became the means. That's why Allama ibn Taymiyyah says that faqad aqamahu Allah in his book Al-Sarimul Maslul. I am quoting a very specific reference with a particular intention. There are some people who just accept only 2-3 authorities and not many more. There are some people. So I am quoting that one. Allama ibn Taymiyyah, he writes in his book As-Sarimul Maslul, page 42. He writes, فَقَدْ أَقَامَهُ اللَّهُ مُقَامَ نَفْسِهِ. This is what explains the status of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which explains the authority of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his station, honored, highly honored station. فَقَدْ أَقَامَهُ اللَّهُ مُقَامَ نَفْسِهِ فِي أَمْرِهِ وَنَهْيِهِ وَبَيَانِهِ فَلَا يَجُوزُ أَن يُفَرَّقَ بَيْنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فِي شَيْءٍ مِّنْ هَذِهِ الْأُمُورِ. Allama ibn Taymiyyah says that Almighty Allah has placed Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at his own station in these 4 things. في أمره ونهيه وإخباره وبيانه. In commandments of commissions, commandments of omissions, prohibitions, and giving the news of knowledge and news, and explaining an interpretation. Everything is covered under these 4 categories. In these 4 things, Almighty Allah has made Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam his direct recipient, vicegerent, direct representative. Muqama nafsehi. You say qaim muqam. when a president, for example, or prime minister goes, so he appoints till he returns vice president as the president. You say he is acting president. Muqama nafsihi means acting. Nobody can become mazallah, acting Allah. He is not away from his duty, astaghfirullah. He doesn't disappear. But just to explain the thing. Muqama nafsihi, he has placed Holy Prophet ﷺ, he has made him stand on his own place in these four things. Meaning thereby, its meaning is that in these four matters, Holy Prophet, his commandments has been given the same status and position as the commandments of Almighty Allah. And he says, it is absolutely unlawful and not permissible to differentiate between Allah and Holy Prophet. This is what Allama ibn Taymiyyah says. This is absolutely not permissible. It is prohibited. It is absolutely forbidden to differentiate, to create a difference between Allah and His Holy Prophet in any of these four things. In any of these four. Amrihi wa nahyihi. If Holy Prophet says anything, this is like Almighty Allah said the thing. If he prohibited you from any specific thing, it means that Allah has prohibited you from that thing. If he narrated he gave any statement or provided you any knowledge or gave you any news, it means Almighty Allah has given you that khabar. And if he explained anything, nobody can challenge because this is explanation of Allah. Fi shay'in min hadhihi al-umur. Any minor thing within category of these four, you can't create any difference between the two. So same way Holy Prophet ﷺ said, as in Quran, he said that whatever Almighty Allah was fard or halal, He gave you the commandments of fara'id. Don't waste them. Get benefit of them. Whatever was haram, Almighty Allah has clarified and categorically explained the prohibitions. Don't break these some hudud. And Almighty Allah has fixed some hudud, the laws and limitations. Don't transgress these limitations. وَسَاقَطَ عَنْ أَشْيَاءَ مِنْ غَيْرِ نِسْيَانٍ. And thousands and millions of other things and acts where Almighty Allah has remained silent. The Holy Prophet is saying, there are thousands and thousands of acts and things where Allah has remained silent. Sakata. He remained silent. He neither commanded you to do, nor did he prohibit you to abstain from. He just remained silent. He said, min ghayri nisyanin. And when Quran and Allah and Prophet, they remain silent, it doesn't mean that they forgot. Silence is not because of their forgetfulness. There's no loss of memory, maazallah. Not because of bad memory. That he didn't remember. No, this is not the reason. Farmaya, he remained silent so that he may provide you forgiveness. He may provide you an open option, a full discretion. He may leave it to your discretion. If you want, you may do it, you may celebrate it. If you don't want, don't celebrate. But nobody in the world has an authority to say that celebrating the Mawlid of Nabi is maazallah haram. Or celebrating this is haram, or eating this is haram, or having this thing is haram, or this act is haram. Nobody in the world has an authority to declare anything haram which has not been categorically prohibited by Quran or the Sunnah of Holy Prophet ﷺ. Wherever you find the silence, silence itself is an authority and evidence. And Holy Prophet ﷺ said again, this is in Sahih Bukhari, again in Sahih Bukhari, he said, the old ancient nations, they were punished by Almighty Allah because they used to ask so many questions from their Prophet where they used to remain silent. They broke their silence through questions. And this way they created their own deen, they made their own deen narrow and difficult, while Almighty Allah has made our deen of Islam based on convenience. So the basic principles which come out of all these verses and Hadith, they are 5 or 6 in number. Basic principles I am categorizing now in a jurisprudential language. The first is Admul Haraj, avoidance of narrowness. Avoidance of, that there is no narrowness in Islam, one. Second principle is qillatut taklif. It is lessening of difficulties. He doesn't want to impose difficulties and doesn't want to put the burdens of liabilities on you which you can't bear, you can't afford. He imposes the responsibilities according to your capacity, ability. Lessening of difficulty. Then third thing, removal of inconvenience. The same thing. Removal, if there is any, then he removes inconvenience from your life. Removal of inconvenience. Fourth, istisna, exemption. Still, if there is anything and you are in a particular situation, not in a position to observe that, then he gives exemptions, exemption clauses, even up to the extent of haram. All those animals which were declared haram, then he said, فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ غَيْرَ بَاغٍ وَلَا عَادٍ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. If anybody is in a extreme state of necessity or in a extreme pressing state of necessity, then even the haram thing would be halal for a time being to save his life. And there are many other examples, exemptional clauses which are applicable. And then there is a graduality, at-tadrij. The commandments of Almighty Allah were enforced in a gradual way. Like the Quran was revealed in 23 years, not in a single day. It was possible for Almighty Allah to reveal the whole of Holy Quran in one day. If the whole of Holy Quran from Alhamd to Wan-Nas was revealed in one day, then the whole, all commandments contained in Holy Quran would have been applicable and mandatory on the people from the same day, right from the same day. So he revealed it in 23 years. And this gradual revelation was for the sake of gradual enforcement and execution. So he may entitles you, he may encourages you, he may extends your ability, he may make you to use to accept those things. So he may helps you to act upon the commandments of Quran and commandments of Islam. So in this way, the Quran and Islamic commandments are enforced in a society. And these principles will continue till the day of judgment in every society. Its application goes on changing from society to society, from place to place, from time to time. So these were the basic principles. So if there is silence and no categorical commandment, then it means that this silence itself is an authority. It means this act is lawful and permissible. Nobody can say forbidden. If anybody says no, why are you doing this? Why are you celebrating this? Why are you eating this? Why are you commemorating this particular event? Why are you doing this? This is haram. So you are not under an obligation to provide the authority for the lawfulness. This is the responsibility of the person who is declaring it haram. He should provide under what argument or evidence or dalil it becomes haram. Because if it is not declared to be haram categorically, it goes back to its original and general permissibility, and that is halal. So silence leads to halal, to permissibility. And if there is any specific command, then that commandment places that particular act in higher level, not in mubah. And this is the greatness of Islamic law and Islamic Sharia, that there are 11 levels of Islamic commandments. No other law in this world, possess this much expansion and extension and flexibility as Islam does. Not everything is fard and not everything is haram. There is no just yes and no, or there is no just act of commission and prohibition. No, there are 11 grades. The original scientists, the jurists and a'immah of fiqh, initially they mentioned 5 grades. Then in the later centuries they mentioned 7 grades. Hanafis and Shafi'is and Malikis and Hanbalis, all a'immah. Then as the science of jurisprudence developed, then they came up to 9 grades. Mostly 7 to 9. I have codified in my book and I have made the 11 grades. This is the development of Islamic jurisprudence. But nobody did on his own. Everybody had the evidence of Quran and Sunnah. So I developed it to 11 grades in the same way as our A'immah developed from 5 to 9. Basing on the authority of the science of Quran and Sunnah. So this is a very big science. I have mentioned a full-fledged chapter in my book, Shaykh-ul-Islam. And I should mention the grades for you. And you see how beautiful sequence, beautiful order, beautiful balance has been created in Islamic Sharia. No system of law in the whole world can provide this beauty. On one way there are acts of commissions, positive commandments. On other side are acts of omissions, negative commandments. These are awamir, these are nawahi. These are the things to do. On left side are the things to abstain from, not to do. Here are do's, here are don'ts. But a beautiful balance has been created. Even when there were five, even then there was the balance. Two, and fifth one common. When the scholars and jurists and imams developed the science up to 7 grades, there was a balance. 3 on this side and 3 on grade this side equal, and the 7th one common for both sides. When they developed it into 9, they made 4 there and 4 here, and the 9th one common. I have developed in the science of Islamic jurisprudence up to the 11 grades, the same way. So now I think nothing has left which can be placed in any of the grades. On this side is fard, that is mandatory. Equal to mandatory on negative side, the force which is available in the fard, the negative force of the same strength, same sanguinity, same seriousness, same force is available to another act which should come at the same level as the farz is. On negative side, that is haram. So the force possessed by fard in commission, same strength and force is possessed by haram in act of omission. You understand what I am saying? Here is farz, here is haram. Just you may count it. 2. Then coming down towards positive things, under farz there is wajib. Wajib, that is imperative. There is a little difference between fard and wajib. I don't feel time has gone, I can't explain furthermore. On the other side, opposite to wajib, at the same level, there is makruh tahrimi, condemned, and haram was forbidden. Here is imperative and makruh tahrimi is condemned. So this is its level, wajib's level is lower than fard. Then there is Islamic science about how these commandments would be categorized. I have given a formula based on 16 principles, 16 jurisprudential principles, how these grades would be fixed. I have given this formula in my book. This is not available in the early books. This is not available in the early usul al-fiqh books. No. The basic jurisprudential modes and principles and how these would be adjusted and fixed in placed in various grades. Wajib, then makruh tahrimi. Then comes sunnat muakkada, a sunnah al muakkada. It is compulsory recommendation, imperative recommendation, incumbent recommendation. Opposite to sunnat al muakkada comes isa'at, disapproved. So the same strength which is possessed by an act of commission on right side, the same negative strength is possessed in the left side. And every positive and negative command comes on the equal stage. So as-sunnah al-muakkada, the imperative recommendation. Equal to that on negative sides come al-isa'ah. That is disapproved. Under makruh tahrimi, the condemned one. Then comes as-sunnah al-sunnah ghayru muakkada. As-sunnah ghayru muakkada. This is directory recommendation. That was imperative, compulsory recommendation. This is directory recommendation, suggestive recommendation. And opposite to sunnah ghair muakkada, directory recommendation, comes makruh tanzihi, improper. Makruh tanzihi, improper. How many grades we have fixed up, mentioned up till now? 8. Then the 5th on this side comes mustahab. Mustahab means commendable. An act which is commendable. If you do, you will be blessed and rewarded. If you don't do it, there is no sin. Opposite to mustahab, there is khilaful awla. Khilaful awla. It is known as uncommendable. Commendable and uncommendable. Now 5 grades are on this side, acts of commission, and 5 grades are on the left side, acts of omission, having negative force of commandment. 10 and 11th is common between the two, that is mubah, which the whole day we have discussed about, the single point mubah. This is one of the manifestations of the mercy of Islam. Mubah means permissible, and it is given another name, indifferent. So it is indifferent whether you may act it upon it or you may abstain from it. So it doesn't make any difference. But you can't declare anything which is mubah, you can't declare it haram or bid'ah or shirk or unlawful, because this is common. This is on your discretion. 10 things are not on your discretion. Overwhelming majority of the things and acts in this world, they come under the fall within the purview of mubah. And in Hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ, Holy Prophet said, he mentioned even your ornaments, your various items of decoration, items of beautification, wool, your silk for ladies, your dresses, your eatables, your vegetables, this and that. He mentioned many things. He said all these things on which Quran, Sunnah, yani Allah is silent about, it means that He has left on your discretion. This is mubah. So anything in your life, in any society, where you don't find any prohibition or categorical article of prohibition, it means this is mubah. But you should be careful in checking and examining that whether any act of a commandment of prohibition does exist or not. You can't say just no easily. This is the you can say the matter of deep examining the things. So this is the act of the right of the authorities. The authorities, those who have very, very deep understanding and very vast knowledge and observation of the things, of the Quran and Hadith, only they are authoritatively able to say, yes, there is no single evidence saying it haram or saying it halal, that's it. You need a lot, quite lot of your years of your age to spend in understanding these things. Not everybody can say these things. So these are 11 grades. So this is the Islamic law, ranks of various acts and grades of various acts, which provides us with this merciful position of Islam and provides us the generosity of Islam in practicing the Sharia and the rahmah of Islam for the whole Muslim ummah and for other people. Thank you very much. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.